Hey there, nature explorers. Are you ready to have some fun and test your smarts? Well, get ready for the great nature quiz. We're going to dive right into the super cool world of animals and plants. Okay, so here's the deal. It's super simple. I'll ask a question, you get a little bit of time to think, and then bam, I'll tell you the answer. Sound good? Awesome. Ready to play? All right, let's kick things off. Round one is all about amazing animals. You know, from the teeniest, tiniest bugs to those gigantic whales. The animal world is just packed with surprises. Let's see what you've got. Okay, first question, let's ease into it. Can you think of one example of a really, really big animal and one example of a super small animal? Go ahead, think about it for a sec. Got 'em? So, what did you come up with? Maybe something like a super tall giraffe for the big one and a little mouse or a sparrow for the small one? If you thought of something like that, you are spot on. What a great start. It's kind of crazy how different they can be, right? All right, let's stick with the giraffe for a minute. Think about those incredibly long legs they have. How do they actually move? Have a think. Yes, they walk and they run. That's it. It's so cool to picture them, isn't it? Just striding across those big open plains. Awesome job. Okay, so from long legs to, well, wings, let's think about that little sparrow again. How does a bird like that get around? They fly right through the air. Easy peasy, you were on a roll. Okay, let's dive deep for this next one, all the way underwater. So imagine an animal with fins. How do fish get around? They swim? Of course they do, using those fins to zip through the water. Perfect. Ooh, okay, this next one's a little trickier. Ready? Think about an animal with no legs, no wings, and no fins. Like a snake. How on earth do they move? They slither. That's the word. They basically use their whole body, all those strong muscles and scales, to kind of grip the ground and push themselves forward. So cool, right? All right, let's switch it up a bit. We've talked about how animals move, but what about what covers them? You know, their skin, their fur, that kind of stuff. So first up, let's go back to the mouse and the giraffe. What's on the outside of their bodies? Okay, let's break it down. For mice and giraffes, they have hair, or you could say fur. They're mammals after all. And sparrows? They're birds, so they're covered in feathers. And what about snakes and fish? They've got scales. Hair, feathers, and scales. Pretty different, huh? Okay, get ready for a big question. And I mean a really big question. What is the largest, most massive animal on the entire planet? Any guesses? It is the blue whale. Wow, these guys are just huge. Get this, their heart alone is about the size of a car. A car! Can you believe that? That's just mind-blowing. All right, time for a little science mystery. We all know polar bears are white, right? But what if I told you their fur isn't actually white? Nope, it's totally clear. So what's going on? Why do they look white? Okay, check this out. It's basically a super cool trick with light. First off, each little bit of fur is hollow and clear, kind of like a tiny see-through straw. So when light hits the fur, it doesn't just pass through, it bounces and scatters all over the place inside that hollow part. And when all that light reflects back out, our eyes see it as bright white. How cool is that? It's pure science. Whew, that was an awesome round. You are doing so great with these animal questions. But now it's time to switch from the animal kingdom to the plant kingdom. Get ready for round two, powerful plants. Okay, first question about plants. I want you to picture a really happy, healthy plant, maybe one in your garden or a park. What are the four main things it absolutely needs to grow? And the four things are light, water, warmth, and air. Yep, a plant needs every single one. Light helps it make its own food, which is amazing. Water keeps its leaves and stem from getting all floppy. It needs some warmth to grow well, and it breathes in a part of the air called carbon dioxide. You gotta have all four. And just like that, we're at the end of the quiz. You did an absolutely fantastic job. Seriously, give yourself a pat on the back. You are a true nature explorer. Wow, that was a blast. We covered so much, from those gigantic blue whales all the way to that crazy science trick with polar bear fur. You did an amazing job today. So our quiz is over, But that doesn't mean the exploring has to stop. I have one last question for you to think about later. What's the coolest, most interesting animal or plant that you can find right where you live? There's so much to discover right outside your door. Thanks so much for playing with me today.